Hi, folks. If you want to know everything about 10x, the 10x mindset, 10x marketing, 10x sales, and 10x follow up, you are in the right place. And with our 10x business coaches down under podcast, I'm Gary Ryan with,
Alison Wheeler.
and this evening we have got our special guest, Jamie Lang. And Jamie has an abundance of things going on, an author of What They Think Is Not My Business, the producer of the Next Level You podcast, which you want to go and check that out, folks. The She Means Business Collective, but most importantly, is a transformational mindset mentor. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Ali. And it's a pleasure to be here. I'm actually really honoured for you asking me. So thank you.
Yeah, well, you're 10x. We know you are. So, with the transformational mindset mentor, what is that all about?
So, where I'm coming from is that I believe that everyone has the ability to create whatever life they choose and whatever results they choose simply by transforming their mindset. And it's first of all becoming aware of the thinking processes and the thought processes and the belief systems that one holds, because that can be what is the only thing holding someone back. You can take massive action, but without actually working on what's going on upstairs and deeply seated from years of programming, can then, the true potential and the true fulfillment of your dreams become a reality.
And what would be some of the common programming that you've experienced that is what's holding people back?
So it came from the reason why I'm going down this path in my business is, and why I feel that this is my true calling, is that it came from my own personal experience of my business journey over 25 years. I am a person of massive action. I am a person that, has really high goals and has always aimed for more. It's just like, I achieved something and I want to create the next level. And what I found, which hence is why my podcast is The Next Level You, because what I found was that even though I have created great success, I really just felt like something was holding me back. And there was a point where I was feeling really stuck and I was taking all of this action and just not reaching the level that I wanted to reach. And it really was a light bulb moment in me, in that, and I don't compare myself to anyone and neither should anyone else, but I was seeing people that were creating massive success that I wanted, aspired to, and that was doing exactly the same things that I was doing. And it was like, well, what is the difference between them and I? And I came to the realization the only thing that was different was what was going on in my head and what was the beliefs that I had that were holding me back. And it really took me down at one point a little bit of a rabbit hole, and I kind of had to pull myself back. But I've developed techniques and strategies, and I've created a path to being able to abolish self-limiting beliefs that maybe you're not even aware of. And so that is now the trajectory. And as I'm uncovering more, I'm finding more to uncover, which is, isn't that great? The journey of personal development, it's never ending. But it's really fun in uncovering these many layers, but then also now my purpose is to be able to help others, because I have seen and witnessed so many business owners in particular try to create results purely from action without working on deeply on the true things that are holding them back, which are those subconscious beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And often too, Jamie, you see that come out in force, right? People trying to force results, which never works, right? Like, taking overly too much action, not as in there is a thing called too much action, but too much forced action, not with intent or belief behind it. So what are they, what do you think the most common, because often in business we feel isolated, right? Like we feel like we're doing it on our own. We feel like we're the only person that feels that way. and we don't actually talk about it, right? It's like all this stuff is secretive. And we certainly don't want to say that on social media, because most of the time we only see someone's highlight reel and how well they're doing. Or we see them at the end of their journey when they're doing well. We don't see behind closed doors. And not that it's necessary to hang out all your washing, right? When show everyone all the bad stuff either. But there is this delusion that we kind of are in, because a lot of social media and a lot of media. But what do you think are the most common things that people like? What are the most common roadblocks, or that you think people are running into that hold them back? Because I've seen the same thing as you, and no doubt, Gary, you have too, in business, where people are, they've got their foot on the accelerator, but they also have the foot on the brake.
Yeah, so two things there. When you talked about the force, I absolutely resonate with that so deeply, to the point where it actually became almost a desperation, which, as you both know, leads to nowhere good. You're actually repelling the very thing that you want when you're trying to force something so much. And as I said, even though I had created some great results in previous businesses, it was just that continual force that turned to desperation that then I realized I was repelling, which then made me really question what I was doing. Again, looking at others, and then really then turning back inward and looking at myself. So, so that's absolutely something that is key in creating anything. In terms of the most common, it's really the conditioning and the deep-seated subconscious beliefs that, unless you go looking for them and unless you're really bringing to the conscious what you're actually thinking, and that brings with it a level of vulnerability. No one wants to admit that that they maybe had a crappy childhood in terms of money, or in terms of relationships, or in terms of health and fitness, for example, like, what you ate growing up and things like that. But no one wants to as you said, bear their dirty laundry to everyone. But unless you're willing to look at that yourself, then nothing's going to change. And that can be really hard also, because what I've found, and it's definitely something that I talk about in my programs and in my podcast, is that by being completely honest with yourself and upfront and uncovering those subconscious beliefs, and being vulnerable, that then you really are taking 100% responsibility and accountability for where you're at. You can't continue to blame or project or make excuses as to why you are as you are, because in some cases, I'm 45 years old and I've uncovered things that, from when I was 5, and as I'm thinking, gosh, 4 decades have passed, and it's now a choice as to whether I hold on to this belief or whether I choose, and it is a choice, and it's work to be done to be able to re-imprint on your brain what you want it to believe. But it is really a choice, and I'm choosing to now believe something different, because what worked for my parents or back then, that worked for them, and with no judgment or blame, that's what happened. But now, as an adult and as someone that's paving my own path, I'm choosing this. And then with that, it's very easy to say, oh, well, I don't believe that anymore, I'm now choosing another belief. But it's then working on that to make it cemented into your brain. And that's done by, in my experience, in finding evidence in your own life where perhaps not in that direct area of your life, but you might have it in another area. And it's also then looking at other people's lives and thinking, well, if it's true for them, it can absolutely be true for me.
Yeah, being that detective, right, is finding evidence that the new belief that you want to now become your reality and you need to become that. Let's find that evidence, look for it, because right up until that certain point in time, you've been looking at something different.
Yeah.
And you didn't even know, like often too, like you said, it's well, what we can't confront, we can't change. And if you didn't know it was, well, you kind of knew it was there, but you didn't necessarily know what it was specifically. You take off the glasses, the lens that you've been looking through, and it's like, whoa, the world looks different. But then now what are we looking at? So it's that redirecting, right, of, with your programs, helping people redirect their focus and put it onto, well, what do I want to think?
Yeah.
And how can I find that out in the world that is actually true? Because I've just been looking at this false belief for so long. And you spoke about often, the big ones: money, relationships, health. There are just myriad of we take on so much of everyone else's belief and don't necessarily run it through any filter, particularly when we're younger, right? Like we don't always have the filter to run it through to go, well, I want to disagree with authority. I don't want to agree with what that person's saying, but we're also, brought up in a world where, you agree with authority, right? Authority's right. Don't question authority. That's not be quiet. Children are supposed to be quiet. All those, shush. Exactly. So I love that you are taking people down a path to really look at, well, what is going on, between the 6 inches and the ears. What is it that's actually holding you back? And you don't, like you said, uncovering it when you're 5. You're an adult now. Start adulting, right? You don't have to be a child anymore. You can change your mind as many times as you like.
Absolutely.
And along those same lines is, so many people are, we've all got stuff in our history. We all got stuff back there. But as you were saying, Jamie, we can either choose what we do with that. Like, do we continue to drag it into the present, which is what a lot of people do. And they're actually doing that subconsciously. They don't even realize they're dragging their history, which is quite negative, into the present and impacting today, which impacts the future. Whereas the work that you're doing, you're helping people come to terms with that, realize that, as you've said now, it's not just a one-step process. There's a journey they've got to go on to be able to change that significantly. And I've shared numerous times, I can literally see the priest when I was 5 years of age tell the parable about it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than it was for a camel to get through the eye of a needle.
Wow.
And I remember as that young 5-year-old boy that implanted this mindset for me that being wealthy equals you're going to hell.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't realize just how much that's impacted my life, and for a long time how I was sabotaging financial decisions because of that deep-seated mindset. Now, I'm thoroughly aware of it now, but I can still feel its presence. I probably will for the rest of my life, but becoming aware of that is so powerful. Now, the next question I've got for you is, everything you've been talking about, and we talk about the 10X mindset, and a lot of people coming into the 10X world, one of the big shifts they have to have is actually about their mindset. So what was your journey into 10X?
So it's, first of all, it's been a great journey into 10X, I want to share. And I found 10X through Ali. Ali and I knew each other from a previous business. And I had also heard and didn't know a lot about Grant Cardone, but I did know of him. So that it was really, for me, being able to take my business to the next level with having mentors and a group of people that understood the journey as well, and that were going to hold me to accountability, now being held accountable. Now, I'm not someone that needs that, because I do hold the bar very high myself, but that can also be a detriment. And Gary, you said something to me which has sort of stayed with me this last week. We're in a group mentoring session, and you asked wins for the week, and I said, I've done A, B, C, and I said, I haven't really done much, but I've done this. And you replied later on, well, actually, that is a lot. And I had to take a step back. I've been thinking of it, and I thought, sometimes you need someone or a group of people to actually just acknowledge what you are doing, because like you said, Ali, as well, it can be really lonely and you're thinking, I'm doing all this work and it's not getting me anywhere, or I haven't done much this week. But having someone, to, I guess, support you and share with you and then give you ideas as well, and just be that backbone, and also have that path of, okay, well, this is where I want to be, and then how am I going to get there with the support, with all the systems that you guys have as well. It's been great.
And it's that exponential growth, right? And it's the validation, I think, having people who understand that living to your full potential is what we're here to do, and support each other in every way, shape, and form to be able to do that. But whatever that looks like for each individual person is not the same. But being around people who believe that, I think, is extremely supportive and important, because we're not surrounded by that. Like, quite frankly, we're just not surrounded by that.
Yeah.
In general, every day-to-day life.
I think, Ali, too, my husband has said to me on a number of occasions, if only you could see me the way that I see you. And I think, even though neither of you have said that to me, I really feel that that's what you bring to the group, because you see everyone's potential and we may not necessarily see it for ourselves, but having someone kind of be those extra eyes and go, well, hang on, you have actually done a lot, like that's big. It makes you just kind of go, well, yeah, like you just take a step back and can reflect on that as well and have that support.
Exactly. And one of the things that the 10X mindset brings, which is helped by having people around you, like-minded people around you, is that enables you to start to see what's possible, because sometimes they see it first, which is your point just now, right? They see it first. Now, what's possible at first might not be probable. It might not be probable, right? Because the odds might be against it. But once you give yourself permission to believe, hey, this is possible, and you are committed with your intention and you're purposeful and you're willing to do the massive action that's required and to put the effort in, if you like,
yeah,
it's amazing how things start to happen. I mean, like, I just know with my own podcast channel, it literally has gone from 47 subscribers on the 1st of June last year, when I started it in 2009, and I still only had 47 subscribers. I've just ticked over 31,000 subscribers. Now, that's been because of what I've learned in the community, what I started to see was possible, because even though I was still plugging away at it, I really didn't have a goal. I didn't really have a target. I was floating rudderless, quite literally. And, that's just one example of once you believe something's possible, and then you can see a pathway to it, and you're actually also in a community environment where you're seeing that happen for other people. And while they might be in a completely different business, it's like, hey, that's actually something I could apply to me, and I need to tweak it this way, but hey, let's go.
Yeah, and it comes straight back to finding that evidence as well. Like, so you're looking at the evidence of someone else achieving that or creating that and going, hey, if it can be true for them, it can be absolutely true for me. So yeah, I love that. And I love being a part of the 10X Down Under. So thank you.
So, Jamie, what we would love to know a little bit more about, which we haven't covered yet, is the She Means Business Collective. Tell us a bit more about, well, what is that?
So I created She Means Business Collective as a platform and as a group to empower other female entrepreneurs. I really wanted it to be a safe, supportive space for women in business, and I really wanted to connect to be able to offer that support, but collectively, because I do believe that collectively we can create big things individually. So, being on a lonely journey myself for all those years, I wanted to have someone and a group of people that I could connect with for tips and tricks, as well as just that general support of having someone or a group of people know what you're going through. So that's why I created She Means Business Collective.
Awesome. And we will have the link in the show notes. So if you do want to join the Jamie's group and be in that supportive environment, you'll be able to click on the link in the show notes. So thanks. That is awesome. And our final question is, which I would love to know, what does 10x mean to you?
10x really, that word, as you said, exponential. It's really just for me going from where I am and skyrocketing in all areas of my life. But purely, I think, if I'm going to be brutally honest, it's about exponential growth in me. And then the results then come, and it's by being surrounded, as we've just said, by people that inspire you, but also can be your eyes when you can't see, and can also then hold you accountable, and also sometimes give you those hard truths as well. But 10x for me is all about being that person that I so deeply know I am meant to be in every way.
I love that. And I love that. And it's just so true, right? In every area of your life, you don't have to rip yourself off anywhere. 10x is exactly, it's that really being all of who you are, present in all areas of your life. I mean, what a gift.
Yeah.
What an absolute gift we can give to ourselves first and foremost. But then really, if we're operating at that level, we're giving that gift to so many more people who, deserve to see that. They deserve to see our gifts, and they deserve the gifts that we have to give. So I love that, Jamie.
And also, Jamie, I mean, with your book, What They Think Is Not My Business, the Next Level You podcast, the Transformational Mindset Mentor, you are already 10x. You've just found a descriptor and a whole body of work that just matches what you already are. And I suppose the key part too is, as you mentioned, is as solopreneurs, and there's well over 1 million solopreneurs in Australia and New Zealand. It can be extremely lonely, and we can, as you mentioned and shared with us before, you can not see the good things that you're doing, and at times that loneliness can actually work against you. And so, having been breaking through that yourself and applying the 10x principles on top of the fact that you already had them, is just what we are super excited about where you're going. So, folks, we're going to have all the links to Jamie's organization and books and the podcast in the show notes. Make sure you click them. And folks, are we ready to go and help some people?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And what day is it today?
It's 10x
The
day.
next day.
Great work. Thanks, folks. We look forward to the next episode.
Thanks,
Bye.
Gary.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Ali.
Thanks, Jamie.
Bye.